Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I hope everyone is having a great morning, a great day. I want to thank one of my moderators. She's the newest moderator. She's a moderator extraordinaire. She actually is not, she's probably team replay, but she was the first one in saying good morning. I want to show her comment because that was really sweet. Thank you so much, CC. She's saying good morning to everyone and just come in, click the like button, and also that she has a meeting right at 9:30. So thank you so much, Cece. I appreciate you doing that. Just have a great live. And she also spoke to the chat. So hello, Cece. We will see you later in the YouTube streets. And I appreciate that so much. I really do. Thank you so much. As you can see, this was to be NYC Extra. So Next Gen NYC Extra. But I do see that they actually had an episode. I watched the episode. Because I put extra in the title, I'm going to start out with the extra. And then I'm going to probably do the review in a separate video. It was a pretty good episode. I'm actually going to give it a 10 of 10. I will rate it at the beginning because the best part of it that Riley was able to compose herself enough to have a conversation that really needed to be had with Bravo. So that it was really important for her to do that. And she did it. I'm proud of Riley for that. I want to actually share my screen and I'm going to show a little bit of where this conversation started. And then I'll go back and just give a little more of the episode as well. But this is really important. I'm glad Riley ushered this in because the platform, the Bravo platform, Peacock, we've always talked about certain things that they have allowed. And third episode in, here they are. We saw a preview last week and we told Riley, keep her head on the swivel. We knew it was coming because she's really the only Black girl. Now, Ava identified herself as a Black woman. She stood up, they identified herself as a Black woman. This episode, I'm proud of Ava for that. I'm going to show Ava a little bit of grace because I'm proud of her being able to stand by Riley. So let me make sure that I'm showing my screen. Okay, I am. I'm going to play it, and then I'll give my commentary on it. Well, this is actually the call. This is where Riley calls Candy. This is the aftermath. I can share it because we previewed last week.
He did. I was just so mad because, of course, I've like heard the slurs and everything. But no one's ever that I considered a friend really like did that to me. So I was really like,
okay, I stopped it, everybody. I'm going to let it play again because this is, and I'm doing in reverse order. This is Candy giving her daughter Riley some words of encouragement after the incident that I previewed last week and Bravo previewed last week from Charlie. The microaggression, the word was used. It was used by Ava, surprisingly enough. So I'm going to apologize to Ava. Thank everyone that comes in as they come in. I saw you, TNTG Mom. Thank you so much for coming in. We had Cece first wishing us a great live, and then she had a meeting to get to. But thank you all for coming in. As I'm sharing this scene between Riley and Candy, it's so important. I wanted Riley pulled off this show pulled off the air, but I stepped off the ledge a little bit. It's important that we have these conversations with the likes of Charlie. We saw his first and second week. He was targeting Ariana and Hudson. He had Googled Ariana, in my opinion. So he was naming foreclosures and things like that. He thinks Ariana is below him because of her economic status, even though he's broke as a joke. And I'll talk more about that later. He also did not know who Hudson was and thought that Hudson was someone that was below him as well. Now, we have since found out Hudson is a son of Zaxby's, and he also is not afraid of Charlie. He is on Charlie's level. They're all on Charlie's level. Charlie is actually lower than he believes he is. That's his father's money. Charlie doesn't have anything. And I will be candid. I've got a little bit of compassion for Charlie during this episode, even though he alluded to the fact the type father his father is, hands off, money giving. And the mother, we got to meet her. She was meeting him in New York for Mother's Day. She had a very inappropriate friend with her that made Charlie extremely uncomfortable. And I don't want to delve down that rabbit hole. The things they were talking about was kind of disgusting. And I can just imagine a boy Charlie or a teen Charlie being subjected to these type people that his mother had around. Now, he told us that from 0 to 10, he was raised with his mother, and then something happened. She didn't have the capacity, he said, I think the word he used, to care for him. And so he went to his father. He compares his father to the lead character in Succession, who's very cruel to his sons. in Charlie's words, Charlie identifies with one of the sons that's trying to get approval, and the father just doesn't care. So I'll show him a little bit of compassion, but because of the microaggression that he is showing to Riley and the fact that he's a decade older than everybody else, I'm going to light a fire under Charlie. He can do better, and I'll talk about a little bit more about him during this episode, but that's Riley. I'm going to read. This is from Instagram. Someone shared that. Even though I have it on Peacock, I didn't get to save it to the screen, so I'm sharing theirs. Riley calls Candy, and the person says, I love Candy's words of encouragement for her daughter. Charlie apologizes to Riley. Hopefully he learned. Charlie apologizes to Riley a couple of times during this episode, and then we get to see where he also goes to George Washington of the Unwashed Hands, and her roommate, Cooper, and tells them that he's not really sorry. He just wants to smash everything so that they don't all continue to be mad at him. So Charlie is not sorry. The Charlies of the world are never sorry. Ava does a confessional where she says, well, I found out that now Charlie says that he's not sorry, and that's kind of going against me as a Black woman, and I'm his friend, and I don't appreciate that because I know he did not mean it. Ava, you can't know that Charlie and the Charlies of the world don't mean it. They mean it. That's why it's called a microaggression. Some of these racial, as Riley says, she's heard of slurs, but she's never had a friend of hers do this. The microaggression is something that they've had to develop it and specialize it over the years because they can't go out and scream the N-word like they used to be able to do. That's no longer safe for them. They're trying to bring it back. They love to bring it back. It's not coming back because some of the people don't know how to receive it that others in the past used to receive it. It's not safe for them to do that. Even though we see a small contingent trying to do that, it's never going to happen again with that freedom. So they had to develop something called microaggressions, which are these little racial pokes and prods, and it's a dog whistle. Certain people get it, other people don't. Riley is young. She was 21 when this was filming. She just turned 22 last month in May. So she is very young, but she knew it didn't feel right and she called it out. I'll let the call from Candy finish.
Thanks for calling. Man, I love you. Bye.
I love your mom.
I'm going to apologize again.
That's her friend. I'm not going to show Charlie again. Let me stop sharing that for now. The other young man in the scene, that is the one, he's in the actual, he's in the previews and everything, but they didn't show him to maybe 1 or 2 episodes in. That's Shy. Riley have said that they've become friends as well. Angela, hey, good morning. This is my friend. This is a flight catcher, and she's also one of my moderators, as you can see. Good morning. I hope you're doing well, Angela A. TNTG Mom spoke to Angela A. as well. And I'm doing the Next Gen NYC. This is supposed to be an extra because the scene that we were all anticipating and awaiting came up with Charlie showing a microaggression toward Riley, trying to paint her as a scared Black woman, which she's not. Riley is a sweetheart. She's so gentle. I'm going to turn my camera off because something's going on with the internet and it's very slow. We've had storms all week, but I do notice it. And I know that that's annoying when it's doing that. Plus I want to share, there's things I want to share as far as with the video, and it just uses more bandwidth. And I may even have to eventually do something with this laptop. This is the one my sister lent me. Okay, so that was one of the Riley and Charlie scenes. I'm going to try to quickly find the one that was on the bus, because that scene that was on the bus, that was the one that kind of started it all. And the scene, to set it up, Gia is not there because Gia's doing a pool party. Gia's doing a pool party at her house in New Jersey. So Georgia is sponsoring she called it it's a Sprinter. She's having everybody on it. I forgot what they call it, a Georgia Mobile or something. But Georgia was kind of sweet this episode. I hope she washed her hands before she got on the bus. No, Georgia, you will not live that down. But Georgia sponsored the group that it lives in New York City over to New Jersey in a Sprinter. So while they were on the Sprinter, Charlie is recounting a scene that happened the night before. And Charlie, in recounting that scene, he's saying that Riley was aggressive with a couple of new girls that they had just met. And Riley jumps in to defend herself and say that that's not true. That's not how it happened. And then Charlie turned into the victim and tried to pretend that Riley was attacking him. So that's what happened. But I'm trying to find it quickly. I'm sorry, guys. Let me, I think maybe faster for me would be if I would pull it up in, I think somebody on Instagram has it. So I'll try to find that, Riley and Charlie. If I pull it up on Instagram, then I'll show you it from there. And I apologize for the silence while I'm doing that. I'm trying to do two things at once. Let's see, Riley and Charlie. Next Gen NYC. Okay, hopefully that'll make it come up quick. Some of these search topics are not easy. And then actually it occurs this episode. They're on episode 3. So, and it's a pretty good one. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Okay, I'm seeing everything but this. And he already assaulted, well, let me not say assaulted. That's some of Charlie's words. Charlie said Riley accosted these 2 girls. She did not, but he's one of those people. Okay, what I'm going to do is put up a couple of comments first, and then hopefully I can find this quickly, or even on YouTube might even be faster. Okay, I'm still here. Let's see. Sharon Gobble, welcome in. I know you did watch. You gave it a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I think the conversation that Riley was able to have was very important. It was painful for me to watch because I knew what they were doing. And Sharon, you know, we called it early on. Even people that haven't watched it yet, I know you're watching it. We said, oh, Riley might be in danger. And even my thumbnail, I said, Riley needs her head on a swivel, because she does, because she's going to get these arrows from this group of kids that feel like she doesn't belong there. And Riley is indeed a child of privilege. A lot of them are faking the funk, but Riley absolutely belongs there. And I knew that they were going to come from her as one of the only black kid, really. Ava identified herself as such. So congratulations. I'm proud of Ava for that. But I really didn't like what happened with this. Let me see, Riley. And I'm trying to find a quick way to pull up the scene. I was already able to find the scene of when Riley called Candy and how Candy encouraged her. Next Gen NYC, Riley and Charlie. Okay. Hopefully that will bring it up. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to see Charlie for who and what he is. And I'm glad. It's something that's important. Georgia, surprisingly, I wasn't as annoyed with this week. And that scene on the van is really important too, because Gia wasn't there, but it showed us kind of where everybody stands. Oh, you know what? I have something better. I think I'm going to go back old school. Here's what I'll do so we don't have to keep waiting. I'm going to come back on camera and then I will be able to show it. I have it on my iPad, but it wouldn't allow me to show like that. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to come back on camera. Okay, here's the cam. Welcome in everybody that came in. I'm speaking about Next Gen NYC's Charlie and then also Riley. Let me see which one I showed first. Here it is. This is the Sprinter van.
Really upset about it, so let's just apologize.
I said I'm sorry that hurt your feelings. I did not want to make you feel this way.
No,
And you were like mad at the girl.
He's still lying. She was mad at the girl. She wasn't mad at the girl. Y'all, that scene triggered me so badly, and especially when Riley started crying because she knew what they were doing right in front of her face. She expressed herself very well, but she kind of was alone. You see Ava pipe in a little bit, and then when Riley first got emotional, you could see that Georgia noticed it. And he's like, hey, Riley, what's going on? And then Riley got to explain it a little bit more. But Charlie is a dangerous young man. He's pushing 30. He's 30 now, I think. But he's got a decade on those other kids. And he's, in my opinion, I'll run a banner. This is the copyright of 1976, Section 107. And these are opinions that are just my opinions that I'm expressing based on what I see from this show. That's predatory behavior. I don't like to see the Charlies of the world be able to go through and do what he's doing to a younger person than him. Now, he's going to try to spin this whole conversation that Riley is attacking him like he falsely accused her of accosting these two girls, and they show it in the scene. All she did was walk up and say, "Hi, my name is Riley." And she said, "I love when my friends' girls introduce themselves," which might be considered a little sarcastic, but it's not aggressive. It's not scary. It's not accosting anyone. It's not any of the things that Charlie said. And then he had the nerve to say that the girls handled themselves well. And Ava had to clarify who? The girls. She assaulted some girl, accosted some girl. And Riley had to clarify, she's probably older than me. I have to go off camera again. Something's going on where it's slow. I'm going to pull up the comments. And this is episode 3. It actually is a Bravo show, but it's on Peacock as well. If anyone hasn't had a chance to watch it yet, sometimes I fast forward through it. Good morning, Paula. Paula came in and said good morning to everyone. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sharon, we called it out that Riley, unfortunately, is the target. They tried to start on Ariana, and Ariana backed his ass completely up, and then her boyfriend Hudson offered to continue. Well, after Charlie wanted to go around the corner, Hudson let him know, "You think you're going to do something in your corduroy pants?" And he was actually ready. Charlie declined, and nothing came of that. Though I see Charlie as a bully. I see him as a bully, and he is nowhere near what he thinks he is. Let me see if I can find this article on him. There's an article on Charlie where it's alluded to a couple of times during the show that he is receiving $10,000 a month from his father. Now, Bravo continues to build this person as they're calling him a crypto bro, right? They're calling him a crypto bro just based on his say-so. But what he really is a fraud. His father has money, and his father has a pedigree and deep background in the financial services industry, but this person does not. So I'm going to show you what I found in the U.S. Sun, where an investigative reporter actually did a little background of him, because he's out here in these streets presenting himself as if he's something that he's not. So I love the fact that this person is able to go out here and actually say who and what he is. Let me share my screen again with this. This is an article from the U.S. Sun. TNTG Mom, you think Ava didn't feel like? Let me just say what I think about Ava. I don't think she's equipped to do that, TNTG Mom. I was kind of surprised that she piped up as much as she did. I'm going to try to find a scene where we can watch it more smoothly, but Ava did end up saying, wait a minute, you have to kind of recognize how she feels. And then Ava referred to herself as a Black woman, which kind of surprised me, and it should not. I feel anybody who's biracial or anything, you say you're Black, I agree with you, you're Black. And I don't want to do that to anyone or minimize who she is. But she did say she's a Black woman, but she was raised completely different. She's raised by Rachel Roy, who I'm not sure of her ethnicity. I never knew if she was a Black woman or if she's just one of the preferences who takes on that persona when it benefits her, or if she's biracial or what. I don't really know about Rachel Roy. I know Damon Dash, her own dad, has alluded to the fact that Riley usually is not around Black people, that one of her boyfriends would never be Black. He made a joke. Good morning, One Crafty Sister. Thank you for coming in. Sharon Gabo brings up the scene. How about when Riley touched Charlie's arm and he acted so afraid of her? He's an a-hole. Yeah, Sharon, that was a part of after. I'm going to try to find that one as well. They previewed that last week. This is the pool party that Gia was having. Also, when they got off the bus, Charlie's like, "Oh, I just want to squash everything. Don't tell Gia that we had a fight because I don't want her to be mad at me too." So he's trying to hide his actions. He doesn't want people to know who and what he is, but we can see him for who and what he is. Riley was still trying to make things up after the call with Candy, after Charlie repeatedly apologized, and then went back and told George Washington and her roommate that he's not really sorry. He's just glad Riley accepted it so they don't have to continue to dwell on it. So Cooper, who is George Washington's roommate, went and told Ava that. Ava tells Riley he's not really sorry. Do you want me to approach him? Riley's like, he's good. I don't know if Riley still don't want to go back and forth. Ava decides she's going to approach Charlie because that's disrespectful to her. And she told Charlie, the more that you do this, I'm not going to help you anymore. He told Ava, I never asked for your help. Riley tries to pull him aside. Charlie, and she has his arm, just you're trying to get someone's attention. He said, will you please take your hand off me? Like Riley was literally getting ready to attack him. He almost said, unhand me. Charlie is a complete and total fraud, a punk. I don't have enough good words for Charlie. Now, earlier, I know I was trying to show some compassion, but now I'm back on my soapbox about him. since you reminded me of that. Thank you, Sharon Godbolt. Charlie, you're not going to get any grace. I take that back. I have the prerogative to change my mind in the course of a life. So I started out, I was going to show him some compassion. Now I am not. Let me show you this article from the Sun, the U.S. Sun, about Charlie. Now he's out here, and Andy Cohen and Peacock and Bravo are calling him some type crypto bro. His father is giving him $10,000 allowance. But this is what's really going on after the show. Okay, let me make sure you can see this article. And this is the person, I'll read her name that actually, yeah, there it is. Let me see. Yep, there it is. Okay, this is done by an investigative reporter. Next Gen NYC's Charlie Zakur. And the people that are on these shows, listen, we're not going to any longer let you just come up and say, a fairy godmother, and then you are billed as a fairy godmother and everybody believes that. No, that is not the case. You say you're a crypto bro, somebody out there is going to go research you and find out whether or not you are indeed a crypto bro. I say no, okay? Here's the article. That's rich. Next Gen NYC's Charlie Zakur admits he's unemployed and has only $1,500 in a bank account in his 2023 bankruptcy filing. The reality star, 30. Riley was 21 during filming. She's 22 now. She turned 22 last month. This Joker, he was 29 at the time. He's 30. Flaunts his wealth and status on the new show. This person's name is Jessica Finn. She's a senior investigations and exclusives reporter. Wow, Charlie, somebody don't like you. And this is new, guys. This is June 17th of 2025. Is that was yesterday's date? Wow. So this is a new article. There's Dylan. They don't went into Dylan's only. Know what Dylan do? This is the roommate. I actually like Dylan. We know he had an OnlyFans. They don't went into Dylan's OnlyFans. Yeah, this is too much. Okay, let me see the article. Next Gen NYC star Charlie Zakur admitted. Okay, I just read that. So the U.S. Sun, this is from the U.S. Sun, can exclusively reveal that the star of Next Gen NYC, who calls himself a crypto trader, that's been my problem. He calls himself a crypto trader, and Bravo allows it. They bill him as that underneath his name. Filed for bankruptcy just 2 years ago. So that was 2023, y'all. There he is. There's a scene from the show. There's a scene from the show. Now, we know sometimes they lie in those bankruptcy documents. This is him at his house. Oh, that must be him and his father, because that doesn't look too bad. When they showed he and Dylan's place, their place was disgusting. He was waiting on the maid to show up. So the Chapter 7 filing is the type of bankruptcy. I'm not going to go through all of this, but just to show you, Charlie is a bum, y'all. In the documents, he admitted he doesn't own any property and says he rents his residence. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people in New York and nationwide rent. So there's nothing wrong with that. But the people that do that, they're not on TV claiming that they're this crypto bro and that they're so unbothered and wealthy. So in the documents, he admitted he doesn't own any property. Okay, I just read that. However, the address he listed appears to be his parents' New York City penthouse. During the second episode of the show, Charlie's roommate quipped he never appeared to have a job in all the time they lived together. Dylan did do that. There's Miss Ava. She got evicted from a $10,000 a month Manhattan place. These people need to pay some bills. You need to work and pay some bills. We know Damon's having money problems. Damon had a whole judgment issued against him because he didn't show up to court. So in the filing, Charlie admitted as much. Charlie ticked the box mark, not employed, said he's expecting to make money soon by getting a new job. I wonder if that was the show, y'all. He listed the monetary act. We just said that, $1,500 in checking. He said he had about 1,000 of clothes. Lies. He was wearing stuff that cost more than that. 2,000 worth of electronics, including a TV. Lies. They showed a TV that was, okay, lies. Cell phone, computer, and a printer scanner, y'all. $2,000. Okay, Charlie. The self-proclaimed crypto trader also admitted he had no bonds, no mutual funds, or public traded stocks, no government bond. This lady goes through a whole paragraph, y'all, of what he don't have. So this is from the documents. I'm not going to read all of that. His liabilities, I'll read those and we'll continue. Just 2 credit cards. So he has an Amex, which is $4,800, and a Chase credit card. He owes $33,000. And he admits to $1,000 a month in income, which comes from friends and family. Okay, now on the show, this man got on the inside. His dad gives him $10,000 a month, and he uses that to trade. And then he has the most conservative expenses I've ever seen. $110 cell phone bill, $200 for food and housekeeping, $50 for laundry, $50 for personal care. We saw him get a haircut that he put on his father's tab. Let's see. $90 for medical and dental. That could be true. He's too old to be on his father's insurance anymore. $200 for transportation. That's probably Uber and Lyft. $300 for entertainment clubs. Charlie, how are you paying more money than for any of the other expenses that you have as a 30-year-old man? $300. So in 2022, he had $32,000 in earnings. Okay. He had to take a personal financial management course and a credit counseling course. And by July 2023, his debts were discharged and his case was closed. So that's good. And then they go on to talk about when Dylan said he doesn't think he makes money. So that is really interesting. Let me stop sharing again. And then I see some good comments on here. I'm going to go back and talk about. Welcome everybody that came in. I appreciate it. Elizabeth Harrison. Hey, she spoke to me as she came in. Angela A., a moderator, is greeting everyone. Cece was the first one here. She has had to leave, and I appreciate her. Good morning, mods. Everyone in the chat. That's from Lizbeth. Okay, and now Lizbeth's making an amazing point that I agree with. Riley's probably the richest kid on the show. I think that's true, Lizbeth Harrison, and I think that some of them have a problem with it. We know that they have a problem with the children of the housewives because I think that they are jealous of the notoriety that the housewives' kids walk in with. So we saw that argument that Charlie had with Ariana. First of all, he Googled her because he was talking about Kim Zolciak's and Corey Bierman's bankruptcy and things like that, attributing that to Ariana, who we find out Ariana works. We know she's been working since she was 6, and we know she said that she's an influencer or something. She had money coming in. Kim and Corey were borrowing money from this girl. So he's actually jealous of the housewives' kids. Gia, they brought up Gia's little song and kind of mocked her on that. Gia was 6 years old on TV. But when he was arguing with Ariana, he ended up saying, I know you are groomed to do that. Being real slick that the housewives are groomed to have arguments and things like that. What's he groomed to do? Here's Sharon Gabo said, he's lying, faking it until he makes it, while Riley's already there. Riley is a child of privilege, a pedigree, a legacy, and these other people are mad about it because they don't feel like she deserves it. I agree with that, Sharon. One crafty sister speaking to everyone. Elizabeth Harrison said, you're right, it's jealousy. Yeah, he is jealous. And then it's funny, I guarantee you, now, Georgia, they have found out who Hudson is, right? That he's the kid of Zaxby's. And Hudson didn't wear that on his sleeve. I didn't know that until Bravo and Peacock and the show told us, okay? I didn't know. He, all of a sudden, now George Washington wants to be friends with Ariana, wants to be friends with Hudson and invite them out, and he's willing to kind of chill a little bit on them. That and the fact that when he offered to take Hudson around the corner, Hudson was unafraid, unbothered, and said, what you going to do in your corduroy pants? And then let the camera know his dad's not going to sue me. So Hudson was not scared of Charlie, and I think Hudson would have put hands and feet on Charlie if it wouldn't have had legal ramifications for him. We see Charlie's already been to court, well, bankruptcy court. And then also, y'all, there's something else out there about Charlie. There's this case of an Italian tourist in New York, and somehow, I don't know if it was from social media or what, they found out that this man has over $30 million in cryptocurrency. You know, this man was kidnapped, held against his will for 17 days in a downtown rented townhome. And one of the people on the camera scene going in and out of the place was Charlie Zakor. Now, he's not one of the men that were charged, but these are friends of his. One of the other person is a so-called crypto bro as well. But they think he really does work in that industry. But Charlie is around the circles of those people. So these people are something else. This trash. Riley is really from a family that actually works. A lot of people don't like Candy. I actually do like Candy. I don't even find her boring. I think Candy came on in season 2 and showed almost everything about her life. She really did. Remember, she had AJ, the fiance. He ended up losing his life. She met Todd on screen. Remember, they went to Africa, and the psychic was telling her, your husband is with you right now. You don't know it yet, but he's with you right now. And he also told Sheree she'd never get married again. So that was a trip. Yeah, Elizabeth Harrison, you saw that about Charlie? Yeah, that's a trip. So this show, now another thing, I'm going to cover Gia's party after I watch it again. They didn't show the whole party. They were just going between the Riley, the Charlie, the back and forth thing, and how it affected the group of acquaintances, because none of them are really friends. But the funny thing is, Gia also she threw a nice party, y'all. She was cleaning up the house. Teresa and her have always cleaned, but she also had a psychic coming in. They're gonna make pizza, and then she had a bartender there. So it was cute. When they got off the bus and Charlie was like, "Don't tell Gia, I don't want her to be mad." Riley went straight up to the bartender. Gia said, "We got a bartender." She went right over there and said, "I want to have a pineapple margarita." So I thought that was so funny. I said, they don't stress Riley out on this little bus ride over there. That was a mess. So Riley was drinking her little margarita. That's what she had in her hand when she called Candy. And I could hear Candy getting a shaky voice, y'all. Candy, a lot of the things that she would put up with on her show, I don't think she's going to go for it for Riley. She gave her really good advice. I really appreciated the advice that she gave her. But that was kind of upsetting. That was really upsetting. I'm still trying to find this other scene while I'm talking to y'all. So I held it up with the iPad, but I hate doing that kind of jerry-rigged stuff. I really do. But on the van, I was noticing who was supporting. Ava spoke up. Georgia was the first one because Georgia was sitting across from her. Georgia was the first one to see the emotion and say, "Oh, wow, Riley, what's going on? Are you all right?" And then Ava spoke up a little bit. I'm upset with Brooks. Brooks is a punk. Brooks wants everyone to defend him. He's gone to Gia and begged her to defend him. He's gone to Ariana crying about what Charlie did to him. Matter of fact, that's why Ariana ended up approaching Charlie, because he kept picking with Brooks. He's gone to Riley asking for help. He sat there with his big boot in his mouth and he didn't say a word when Charlie was attacking this girl and telling lies on her and saying things like accosted and you attacked and all this kind of stuff, and have Riley in tears on her way to a party. So Brooks, I'm looking at you. A lot of people didn't like Brooks. I don't watch Salt Lake City because I heard the things that went on Salt Lake City when Mary Crosby had to leave. And I just didn't want to get my blood pressure up with their racism. Now, I think they've improved the situation because Mary Crosby has come back, but I'm still not messing with Salt Lake City. But Brooks, I'm going to think something about Brooks if he don't stand up. He won't even stand for his sister. And this boy talking about, "You want me to F your sister." He'll be missing a couple of teeth. I got 3 brothers, well, 4, 1 heavenly, but 3, you couldn't say that in front of somebody's real brother and have them just go, "Oh, I don't want you talking about my sister like that." So Charlie is aggravating and he's a provocateur. Brooks is a punk. Okay. Let me see who else on there. Ariana was sitting right next to Riley and Hudson was on her side, leaning up. He and also Ariana were looking right at Riley. They didn't say anything, but they were just attacked by Charlie last week. And they were, to me, I could see that they were upset about it, but they didn't engage with Charlie again. So I did notice that. They didn't stick up for her. They didn't jump in on his side, but they didn't like what was going on. I think they were just trying to gauge the situation. Ava spoke a little bit for her. Georgia called it out a little bit. Brooks was totally disappointing. Dylan was uncomfortable. He's Charlie's friend. He didn't take sides. Shy is the new kid. He didn't really take sides yet. I'm hearing that he and Riley are kind of close. So he didn't say anything, but he didn't like it. Because when they got off the van and Charlie didn't want Gia to know, he said he didn't want her to know because he doesn't want her to be mad at him too. So he knows that most of the people on the Sprinter know that he showed his corduroys and they didn't like it. So yeah, y'all, this is getting good. This is not even my review, y'all. I had a lot of things that I took notes on during the episode. So I'm going to have to come back and do another episode. I mean, not another episode, it's still episode 3, but I want to actually find that, but I'm not going to waste your time while I still continue to sit here and look for it. So that was a pretty good episode. I had to give it a 10. Sharon Gabo gave it a 10 as well. Anytime we can have real issues that are brought up, I'm here for it. I think it's really important because Bravo to me tries to pretend that the stuff doesn't happen, and it does. I'm going to share the screen so I can show y'all something. Since I'm right at 40 minutes. Why do I think I was at 29 minutes? I'm not. Okay. I'm going to share the screen. What YouTube is doing and what they've done with this show, they are showing, they will show different shows. You can watch an entire episode, whether you have that streaming service or not. Now, one of the shows that they're showing, I'm going to show it to you. I think I'm going to start watching that. I want to come back and read your comment, One Crafty Sister. because I like to think of that. And then I want to tell y'all something funny that somebody said during the course of that. Okay, let me go that out. I'm going to share screen again. Okay. Okay, now they don't want Mama Joyce. This is what I think too. I love the cross where they had Teresa come up, but this is funny. One crafty sister says, okay, now they don't want Mama Joyce and Candy to show up for Riley. They sure enough don't. They don't want none of that Mama Joyce smoke. You know, Mama Joyce will take her wedge heel off and chuck it at you if you do too much. Mama Joyce not playing. But I was reading all of the comments. The majority of the comments, I say 95%, they show compassion for Riley. They appreciate the conversation. It was funny because when I first saw it, I was so heated. I said, Riley need to get off this show. Candy need to get her off this show. And other people in the comments were saying that as well. And then one girl put up there, no, Riley shouldn't stop her bag because of him. Get him off the show. She said, or bring in a New York girl or bring in like another black girl, which I thought was funny because Ava's a black girl, but we already called out Ava. So they were saying, get Riley some help. Don't let her get off the show. So now I feel like unless Riley doesn't want to be on the show, I want to see her plant her feet in and dig her heels in and continue to do what she's doing. I don't think she should have to leave the show because Charlie, the corduroy fake wannabe, is clowning. But one of the funny comments I saw was like, if they doing famous kids, bring Ray Janae on there. They said bring Lil Wayne's daughter. They said Ray Janae would not have any of those problems. So I found that really funny because I feel like you need to have some connection, at least to New York or to one of the housewives. But somebody brought up Toya and Wayne's Ray Janae, because you know Ray Janae would have probably dragged Charlie across that bus. But you're right, one crafty sister. They don't want Mama Joyce and Candy either. But what I'm showing you, these two ladies here, this is the 1,000-pound roomies. It's up to episode 3. I've only seen episode 1. Is anybody watching that? These two ladies, Jazz, this lady in the red here. I can't say left or right because I always forget and it's backwards when I show it. But Jazz is in red. And then this other young lady, the roommate, I can't think of what her name is. But it's 1,000-pound roommates on, I think it's on TLC. But you can watch the whole episodes on YouTube. Y'all, it is so interesting. And the two of them, it's funny because they're 1,000-pound roommates, but the crossover that they have, Jazz is considering getting some of that surgery that Dr. Now did. So she has to come down like a couple hundred pounds. I think they got to get down to like 700, but your body's not equipped to do that really quickly. So she's working on it. She got to get at least to like, I think they told her to lose 130 pounds first. And then the friend wants to work with her and do that as well. But it's a trip because these two ladies, they are so cute. They always have their clothes together. They always have their hair and makeup. They have everything done. It's just, of course, now that they're at a stage in their life, they're up to 1,000 pounds. I mean, they don't each weigh 1,000 pounds. I think they're at like 7 or 8. TNT Gmon plans on watching it. Okay. So we'll talk about that. I think what we'll do, I'll do like extras and then we'll talk about it. One crafty sister, me too. That's the one I saw. I saw episode 1. But just looking at that now, it's look like they're up to 3 on YouTube. So that's another, I'm trying to add shows, y'all. That's something else we can talk about. If it's something that I'm not going to do like a whole review of it, at least I'll schedule the time, put in what the show is, and then we can talk about it. So we have people that have talked about the show. Oh, she's taking the shots. Okay, I'm going to have to catch up with episode 2 and 3. I'm off today. I can actually do that today. So Elizabeth Harrison said, I watched it. She's taking the shots. They are funny. Yeah, they're funny. They had an old friend that Jazz have had for years that hadn't seen her in years. And the friend came in. The friend used to be overweight as well. And when she saw the new Jazz, she was just smiling and happy. Then when she did her confessional, she was so concerned and upset, y'all. She felt like crying. She said, I can't believe Jazz has gotten to this. But the roommate's always cleaning. She cooks because a lot of things Jazz can't do. She'll be in pain. So the roommate was funny. She was like, Jazz, you hungry? I'm going to get you a snack. She come give a Jazz potato chips. This is still episode 1 before the friend got there. So when they found out the friend was coming, she come cleaning up and getting the potato chips away. And the friend was like, Jazz chips was still there. She said, you were eating chips? And the friend was like, I haven't seen any chips. So the two of them, they have a really good personality. They're really cute and sweet. The thing that bothers me when they're in public, they had a scene where Jazz kind of broke down. They were on the way to the beach. The roommate likes to get up and go out. She'll drag Jazz with her because Jazz has a 8 or 9-year-old daughter. So I like that the friend makes her do that. They went to the pool, but the beach. They went to the beach. Jazz would not get out of the car. She got really upset. She got anxiety. She was crying. She was shaking. It was real. She couldn't get out of the car. But the friend went to a little stand on the boardwalk and got this girl all the food that she liked, like onion rings, burger, hot, and brought the food back to the car, y'all. So I was glad they got out the house, but she can't be doing that. So I have to watch 2 and 3. Anyway, thank you for the sitting with me through the Next Gen NYC and my extra on that. I'll have a separate review that's just tight to episode 3 of Next Gen NYC. And then we'll talk about 1,000-pound roommates as well. Tonight is supposed to be Extra Sassy Tea Talk, dropping Extra Sassy Tea Talk. So join us here on all 4 of the channels. I like how you dip in and like everyone's. That means a lot to all of us. So I'll see you later in the YouTube streets. Thank you all so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.